Welcome to another episode of the Get Back Coach, presented by Apollo Media. Another week in the books. You know, Jay, they say you get the biggest jump you make as a team is between week 1 and week 2. And let's see if that's true. But, Jay, before we get started, tell them who we're brought to you by.
Yeah, this season, the Get Back Coach is brought to you by Battle Bets. Battle Bets is a new way to test your college football knowledge against your friends for fans of the sport of college football. Now, what is Battle Bets? It is fantasy betting exclusively for college football. So you can create a league with your friends and place bets on college football each week with fake money. They have spreads, over and unders, money lines, and props. Track your bets and earn points throughout the season to win your leagues. Download the app on the Apple Store, sign up for free, and let Battle Bets know we sent you by selecting the Get Back Coach as your referrer in the Ambassador section. It's 100% free to sign up for the Battle Bets Get Back Coach League today. And there are also weekly prizes as well as a season-long prize in the Battle Bets Community League. We'll have those links on the social, but we are thrilled to be partner with Battle Bets. Jake, let's get into it.
All right. And remember, Battle Bets, make sure you let them know that the Get Back Coach sent you. But Saturday, let's start with some noon games here. Baylor and SMU, probably the most entertaining game from that slate on Saturday. Baylor beats SMU 48-45 in double overtime. Jay, Sawyer Robertson, 3 straight games over or passing for over 400 yards. Baylor fought back, was down double digits. This is a huge win for Dave Aranda and the Bears, who are looking for a Big 12 crown.
Yeah, this was a game where I thought Baylor would be a little more competitive with SMU than they were with Auburn. I think Auburn's just a more physical team.
Mhm.
Uh, Baylor still has trouble in coverage. I think that's just kind of who they're going to be as a defense this year. But the offense was great out there. SMU kind of let them hang around, and then Baylor able to pull it off again in double OT. SMU has not beat Baylor since the death penalty. So that's something that the fans are probably not going to be happy with. Now, I don't know how often they've played in that time span, but this one was one that SMU wanted for a lot of reasons. I think it would have been great for them as a Texas program to get a win over Baylor. Equally as important for Baylor to get that win over SMU. And I think some of the panic button that was pushed over Dave Aranda after week 1 with the Auburn loss. I think they're kind of back on like, hey, this is still a very good offensive Baylor team. The defense has flaws, but I mean, this is an offense that's good enough to compete. And anytime you can put up points like this, you have a chance.
Yeah. Jay, that is Baylor's 14th win in a row, dating back to 1989. Okay. SMU's last win was in Waco in 1986, and Baylor has won 14 straight since then. Now, I'm a little disappointed in Baylor's defense. Again, Dave Aranda, I thought they would be able to figure it out, but being in the Big 12, this looked like an old school Big 12 game. And I think Baylor's going to have to outscore people. Now, granted, SMU's offense is nothing to sneeze at. Like that's a pretty good offense, but I think Baylor with that win has kind of gotten their feet back under them, and almost like a statement of, hey, listen, this is supposed to be, or this is one of the top teams in the ACC. We are still going to push for this Big 12 crown. We're still going to be okay. So I think it's huge for them to get that win. And some awesome, like there were some great catches in this game too. Both teams, some spectacular catches.
Yeah, a lot of talents on the offense side of the ball, and they have some good players on defense too. Just neither squad has been able to put it together. But again, big win for Baylor to kind of get their feet under them. SMU is going to have to go back to the drawing board now to try to get their feet back under them.
Yeah.
But moving on, Iowa at Iowa State, El Assico, the Cyhawk, whatever you call it. This game between the Cyclones and the Hawkeyes kind of played out exactly how we expected. Very low scoring, plodding rock fight of a game. which I personally love to see. I know it may not be for everyone, but I love it.
Mhm.
Iowa just still not able to kind of have those explosive offensive plays. Iowa State, I think this proves that they can win games multiple ways, right?
Mhm.
I think we in Kansas State we saw the offense open up a little bit more. I think this week against Iowa, it was about their defense, their ability to create pressure, to wreak havoc on opposing quarterbacks. That really helped them out, and big win for Iowa State. They keep that momentum going that they got for the first week of the year over in Ireland, and you know, they look good. If somebody were to have picked them to be in the Big
Ooh.
12 title game, like I think Jake you did,
I am. Yep.
uh, I think you have to be looking at it, and Iowa State has a real good shot to be in Arlington come the closing weeks of the season.
Yeah, Iowa State looks pretty good. They've just won back to back, Cyhawk games. And Jay, I think the play of the game is second quarter. Gronowski throws a pick and puts Iowa State in really good field position. Iowa State caps off the drive with a touchdown. I think that right there was such a gut punch to Iowa. And again, Iowa's inability to stretch the field, I think, is the major problem. It is their biggest weakness. And I think what defenses do is just, shut everything down in front of you. Shut everything down within the 10 yards, make them stretch the field, and I just don't think they can. Um, and I think, man, if Iowa just had a burner at receiver or a quarterback that can sling it a little bit better, this team would be so good. And I feel like we've been saying that for a decade with Iowa, that like they're always good, they're a tough out, really good defensively, but they are just missing some dynamic playmakers uh, outside the tackles, and I think it really killed them here. And I think it was the difference maker in this game. Cyclones hit a 54-yard field goal, and Iowa just could not get the 2-minute offense to work. A little bit hard. I was a little disappointed in their ability to protect Gronowski late in that game. I think there were 2 sacks on that last drive, just defensive tackles or defensive ends just pinning their ears back and going. Here's the thing. I was going to be a tough team in the Big Ten. They are not a play. I don't think they're not a playoff contender, but they're going to be in that 8 to 9 win range, and you better bring your A game when you're playing the Hawkeyes. And I think we all know that.
Yeah, I mean, it's just the same identity that Iowa has had for so long, and they kept this one close to their credit. Like this was a very competitive game. Iowa's defense is still going to create problems for teams when they play them. But moving on from this one, we had 2 very close games to kind of kick this off. The next one that we're going to talk about was not close. Listen, I talked about this probably being the end of Mike Gundy's run at Oklahoma State. I don't think anything's ever felt clearer than what
Mhm.
the Oregon Ducks did to the Pokes in Eugene.
Yeah, and we saw that line 28.5. And Jay, thankfully, I did not put money on this game. I said last week I was going to take the cheese with 28.5. Luckily, I did not, as you saw with our official picks that are on our uh, Twitter/X account. Um, the writing's on the wall. This team was awful last year, like awful. And now the thing was, and I think we talked about this in the Big 12 preview, I don't know if they improved anywhere.
It certainly doesn't feel like it.
No. And like the thing is with this, Jay, and again, I watch back the condensed version of these games, which I do every Sunday morning. They looked out coached. That is, I think, my big problem here is that they didn't just get their ass kicked. They they weren't even on the same planet as Oregon, and it looked like missed assignments to me. And then they just gave up. And I it kind of looked like that. Was it the last game of the year? Did they get they got smoked by Colorado, correct?
I think so.
It looked like that. And I just think Mike Gundy, for as well as he's done we said, okay, this is the year this is the time where Mike Gundy, it's when you count him out is when they make a splash again, and it's not happening. Jay, I don't want to take any credit away from Oregon because they look spectacular, and I'm very nervous about that game in 3 weeks. But Oklahoma State might be the worst Power 4 team in the country. They're close.
Yeah.
I mean, we'll see that there's a couple others in there, but this team looks absolutely lost. And so, Jay, how long before Gundy's fired?
I don't think he makes it out the season, to be honest with
No.
you.
Oh,
Maybe
no.
they do cut him some grace just because he's an Oklahoma State guy and he's been there for forever. But I mean, I have to think that, once the Big 12 slate starts, you'll lose a couple of those games, and I think it's sayonara. I think Gundy's gone.
So I have a prediction. Gundy is. They say they're going to cut ties with Gundy in week 6. Okay, give me week 6 or 7. They're going to say they're going to cut ties. Gundy is then offered, like Coach O, you can finish out the season, and Mike Gundy is going to say, nope, I'm gone. And then he is going to flip the birds as he's leaving.
Absconding with his buyout, riding off into the proverbial sunset. Yeah, listen, Oklahoma State, the schedule ahead, I think you have a winnable game against Tulsa.
You better hope.
Tulsa just lost to New Mexico State, so
yeah, it's bad.
Baylor at home, which is probably going to be a loss.
Mm-hmm.
Arizona is, I think, maybe the one team in the Big 12 where I think, hey, maybe they have a shot, but it feels like Arizona's taken a step forward this year.
Yep.
Now we don't know about the level of competition yet, but I mean, there's a real chance that, again, this is an Oklahoma State team that I believe did not win a conference game last year. And I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility for them to go winless in conference once again.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't be surprised if it's after the Arizona game, to be honest with you.
After Arizona, I'm thinking after Houston or Cincy. Because then you have Texas Tech. Listen, Cincinnati looked better than them, and I'm really low on Cincinnati. Houston is going to be ready to play with Willie. Central Florida, I think Central Florida, and listen, we're going to talk about Kansas State. I don't know what's going on there. I think Central Florida might be their only shot at a win in conference. This team looks absolutely bad, and I am disappointed how they just completely laid down in the third quarter. And Oregon called off the Dogs in the fourth, by the way.
Yeah. This could have been worse.
This could have been worse. And do you think, I mean, I think it's obvious. Oregon took major offense to Gundy saying, no, we don't buy, they're buying wins over there, because of Oregon and their tie to Nike and they have all this money. Again, you just don't say that, because now you took a bunch of younger players at Oregon to now rally with each other and made them more motivated. And yeah, they took it to him. This game wasn't even close.
No, not close. And I do think that was a little bit of bulletin board material.
Oh my God.
It's kind of like, I guess it was Oregon and Colorado, right? That there was a little bit of chirping back and forth, and Oregon ended up winning that one. I think Oregon was responsible for some of the chirping. But this one against Oklahoma State, I mean, when Gundy said that, I think it just kind of lit a fire.
Oh my God,
and I think they were pissed off.
Oh my God, yeah. Big upset over the weekend, Jay. South Florida goes into the Swamp. Bulls win 18-16. Jay, Byron Brown, we talked about that guy in the summer. Guy is an absolute warrior, played a great game, putting his body on the line. But, Jay, I'm really impressed with South Florida's defense.
Yeah.
Like, this was an area of concern, I felt like, coming into the year, and they were able to use the transfer portal. They look really good. They are the front runner. I think it's a clear front runner to be the Group of 5 representative.
They are for sure, and I think they have the best 2 wins in the country so far through 2 weeks of the season
They do.
over Boise State and Florida. I don't
They
think that's up for
do.
debate. Uh,
They do.
Now I do worry a little bit about, again, this week, you have another
Mhm.
tough game. You have Miami,
Yeah.
which I think Miami is a much better team than Florida based off what we've seen.
Mhm.
But you have to be impressed with them. Uh, how crazy is it that in the span of 5 years, Florida has lost 2 games on the most ridiculous penalties between the
Yes.
shoe being thrown and
Yeah.
the spitting on Saturday against South Florida. It's also weird that we got 2 spitting incidents in the same football weekend,
I
right?
know. It's like, what is happening here with the spitting? I was gonna make a bad joke. Anyway, um, so not only the spitting penalty, there's another personal foul penalty to, you know, make it easier for South Florida to drive the field. Um, Florida, and this is my problem with Billy Napier, um, who is on the hot seat, might be on the hot one of the hottest. I mean, I think Gundy is hotter right now.
And we
But
we talked about how difficult that schedule is for Florida moving
yeah,
forward.
it's really tough. They got the short end of the stick there. But my problem with Billy Napier is, and I don't know, maybe it's just Florida. I don't know, just very undisciplined. Just undisciplined football, and it's going to absolutely kill you. And I think that's coaching, and I think that's culture. Um, South Florida again, great bend don't break defense as well. I'm a little again, DJ Lagway still kind of young. Didn't look the best against South Florida's defense. But Jay, do you know about South Florida's kicker? Who he is?
Yeah, I was glad he didn't injure himself celebrating that game-winning kick.
I know, right? It's for those of you who don't know, he is a Grammatica, son of Martin Grammatica, who was with the Buccaneers and the Cowboys, I think, for a bit. I remember there were two Grammaticas, but I believe he's the one that was on Tampa and then Dallas. But that's a cool little wrinkle in that. He missed one with 3 minutes to go, and then they got a stop, and then he was able to hit the game winner at the end. But I think this is the second time in 3 years South Florida's beaten Florida. I think they beat him in a bowl game a couple years ago.
That may be right. But either way, this is a
Yeah.
massive win for this program. They now have 2 wins over, at the time, ranked teams on the season.
Mhm.
They're into the rankings themselves now. I think we've talked about a little bit about Alex Golish on this program before, the head coach at South
Mhm.
Florida, and we're impressed with the turnaround he had in year one. Last year wasn't as good as we expected out of this team,
Mhm.
but man, have they come out the gates hot in 2025.
Yeah. And I think I'm confused with South Florida with Central Florida because that is the first time South Florida has ever beaten Florida. They've played each other 4 times since 2010. Florida has won all of them except for the last one. Huge win for the Bulls. Huge win. Um, Next up, Jay, Missouri and Kansas need to play every year.
Yeah, Border War should
This,
be an annual game.
yes, this was so much fun to um, kind of watch over on social media. Just these two teams really hate each other. There's that historical significance too with the pro-slavery um, Missourians and the Jayhawkers, who were also very ruthless people in the they
We
were
don't
ruth
have to both
we
sides
don't have
this.
we don't have to, yeah.
We're
But
definitely on the side of Kansas
we are on the
historically.
side of Kansas. John Brown may have been a little insane, but that's all I'm going to say there. Shout out my boy John Brown. Anyway, by the way, Jay, just again historic aspect, like how crazy is it that like these programs formed like 30 years after the Civil War, and you would have legitimate like Civil War veterans on the sideline watching these two like go at it. Like there is actual hatred between these two that runs real deep.
Yeah, and it's wild because like Missouri is one of the slavery states that wasn't uh, in the Confederacy.
Mhm,
Uh, and we can get into the historical aspects of it, but it is crazy just like how much that shaped just the history of college football in the
mhm,
weirdest way possible. I mean, you had a dude on a chance to kick a field goal and win $25,000, I think, towards a scholarship, and
and
instead
he
he
kicked
takes
it.
off his shirt, has FKU on his shirt, and
Mhm.
he kicks it at the Kansas sideline. Wild move, by the way. I don't think I've ever seen
Awesome.
that.
Listen, works out for him because I think he said he's like, I knew I wasn't going to make the kick, so
Yeah.
I'm just gonna make a viral moment. And listen, he's been getting interviewed and stuff
He
on it.
he might get an
He,
NIL deal without
yeah,
playing for the team.
exactly. But on the game, Kansas, this goes a little back and forth. Missouri just kind of pulls away. Listen, Bo Prabula, I know Bo Prabula very well from his time at Penn State. He looked really good. But why did he look good? Because Missouri was doing things that Bo Prabula does well. Runs read. He's going to use his legs. You're not going to ask him to stretch the field. You get a lot of crossing routes, a lot of just easy one read throw type of stuff. And Kansas, listen, their Achilles heel is going to be their defense. They have a really good offense, but their defense is going to struggle at times. And Missouri, again, Bo Prabula, great job. The running game looked really good. Mizzou puts the dagger in them a little bit late, but yeah, great football game, great rivalry needs to be played every year.
Agreed. This is one of those ones where you really hated to see it go with realignment. I think it's right
Mhm.
up there with backyard brawl as far
Yes.
as just like the pure hatred expressed
Hmm.
on both sides of it. Uh, I would love to see Missouri and Kansas play every year. I just always think back to 2007,
I
obviously
know.
one of the greatest years in college football. But Chase Daniel and I believe it was Todd Reesing going back and
Mhm.
forth.
Yeah.
Those two programs. Just a lot of fun when they're playing each other on the field, especially when both of the teams are good like they are this
Mhm.
year.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And um, we're gonna go to the primetime games now. Oklahoma beats Michigan 24-13. Jay, this was I hate to say it. This game was a little bit of a snooze fest. This was not the most exciting game. Oklahoma pretty much controlled it for start to finish. Michigan, their defense kept it close. Oklahoma wasn't able to finish drives. Um, Jay, John Mateer is very good. He is very good. He is a hard runner, very dangerous with his legs, a little inconsistent. He sails that ball a lot too much. This sidearm action he's going with. Again, I'm not a quarterback guru by any means, but I don't know. I just think his mechanics aren't as fine tuned. But I want to know your opinion on this because I think Oklahoma and Michigan, both of them, I think are a bit overrated, and I think that their logo is probably carrying that matchup more than it should. Um, I think Oklahoma is still good though. I think Michigan could be towards the end of the year. They have some things to figure out, but I think these were two teams that may be a little bit overrated.
Yeah, and Michigan also has to work through their head coach being suspended. We got the Biff back.
Oh yes.
Uh, but Oklahoma, you talk about John Mateer being a little inconsistent sometimes. I agree with you there, but he's just so electric, so dynamic.
Mhm.
Honestly, he reminds me a little bit of a guy that I played with, and Johnny Mansell, just with
Ooh, that's an
his
endorsement.
with his ability to just create plays.
Mhm.
uh he's gonna make some dumb decisions sometimes. I don't know that he has the receivers to bail him out like Johnny did, right? Like you
Mhm.
don't have like the Mike Evans and Swope and Easy, like those guys to kind of help him out whenever he needs a big play. But it has added an element to this Oklahoma team that I think other squads have to adapt to. I think he's the best quarterback play they've had in a while. And I think that's going to be massive for this program moving forward. I do think maybe they're a touch overrated, but I think
Mhm.
at the end of the day, this is still Brent Venables' coach defense. I feel
It
like
is
they've improved
very
massively
good.
on that side of the ball. Uh, Again, Michigan kind of hung around in this one, but it felt like Oklahoma was just
Mhm.
the better team the whole time. It'll be interesting to see, what happens when they get into the SEC slate. kind of how they deal with those games going on the road to some places. Obviously, that's going to change the dynamic a little bit. Had Michigan at home, I think that helps them out quite a bit. And again, with Michigan, you had a young quarterback going into a hostile environment for the first time, right? Like this is not an easy thing to ask people to do. We saw Arch Manning struggle at Ohio State. Like your first big road start as a quarterback, you are going to have challenges. It's going to be tough. You're probably not going to look good. We go back to that CJ Stroud game at Minnesota, right? So I think Michigan, like you said, to your point, could improve as the season goes on. We'll see. But Oklahoma, for me, this game moved them maybe up a tier in the SEC. For me, again, they have to keep it going. They have to be consistent. I don't know if they're going to hold up to the full slate, but it's always good to pass the test against a very physical team.
Oh yeah, and listen, Bryce Underwood, he's a true freshman, guys. Tough environment against a pretty good defense. And here's the thing also with Michigan, not a lot of really great skill guys on the outside for Michigan either to like help him out. He wasn't awful. He wasn't good, but he wasn't terrible. I think things are going to slow down a little bit for him as the season goes on. He's an incredible talent. Don't write him off quite yet. Okay, let's see a little bit more from him.
Yeah, and I think we will as the season goes on. But moving on, we had another upset. Mississippi State takes out Arizona State in cowbell country. Blake Shapen, what a ball to win this game. You wonder a little bit about the defensive decision making, but this is who Kenny Dillingham is as a coach. He takes risks. Maybe it would have been smarter to have somebody back deep, knowing a touchdown loses you the game. But ultimately, like, big win for Mississippi State. I think they've improved a ton. I don't think we want to discount that win over Southern Miss on the road at Southern Miss with a lot of guys from last year's Sun Belt winning Marshall team following Charles Huff down there to Hattiesburg. I think that was a good win for them on the road. And I think this win at home is obviously even better over a playoff team. I think Arizona State's fine. You just kind of have to bounce back from it. I think they maybe needed a little bit of a wake-up call. When you come off such a big season like they had last year, winning the Big 12, going to the playoff, you can start to feel your oats a little bit. And I think maybe this was Arizona State's like, hey, you gotta do it again. You're gonna have a target on your back this year. It's gonna be a little bit tougher. I think it was that kind of moment for him.
Yeah, no, and that's the thing. Like Arizona State, I think is gonna be okay. Like you said, they're gonna be fine. This might be the best thing to happen to this team. It might be the best, because one, you don't lose a conference game. You know that conference games, like for the Big 12, they matter the most because if you win your conference, you're in.
Yep.
You know, if you run through your conference and say this is their only loss, or maybe they go 10-2, but they only have one loss in the Big 12, they're in. And I think Arizona, especially with Kenny Dillingham, like talking about their practice, like it was after one of those practices, he's like, we had an average practice. We had a good practice for an average team. I think this might be the wake-up call they need. Sam Levitt didn't look great until like the fourth quarter. But huge win for Mississippi State. That fan base has been going through a lot for the last 2 years, maybe even 3, probably since Mike Leach passed. This is probably their biggest win since then. So huge for Mississippi State. Jay, did you take a little offense to Dillingham's comments about we can't get a hotel? They got no hotels in Starkville. Like, it's definitely bulletin board material, but like, is it a stretch?
I mean,
you've played there. You have played there.
Yeah.
Right?
So when we went to Starkville, I think we stayed in Columbus, Mississippi, which was about 25 minutes away. I will say it was the worst hotel food that I had in my road trips as a A&M football player. And the cowbells are pure torture. Like it is the most ungodly sound I've ever heard in my life whenever those get going. And unfortunately, we heard it quite a bit because that was Dak Prescott in 2014. But Yeah, I mean, I think it was maybe a little bit over the line. Like they
Mhm.
definitely could have stayed close. Like there's definitely hotels without casinos within 25 minutes. So you didn't have to
Right.
stay an hour away. I know Arizona has had budget problems. I don't know if this was like an Arizona State thing where they just didn't have the budget to get to the hotel.
Mm.
Maybe, it was a similar accounting error where they had like an extra zero on something and they're like, our hotel budget for Starkville is not as good. But I don't think the comments, like, it was a little bit of bulletin board material, but I think that it really comes down more to uh, Mississippi State's just hungry. I think they've just had so much bad going on for the past few years, like you mentioned, since Mike Leach just passed, that this fan base and this team just kind of needed a moment like this. And I think
Mhm.
that was massive for them in Starkville.
Yeah. I mean, great ending to that game. I mean, all-time classic. It's one of those games where you're watching it and you're like, I just watched an all-time classic game. So awesome
We
to
had a
see.
we had a few of those this week, I feel like.
I mean, college football world, NFL world, but yeah, we had a few of those. We definitely have the BYU SMU game. Same thing. I wasn't able to watch that one live, but
BYU and who?
BYU, or sorry, not BYU,
And
Baylor and
SMU. Oh,
SMU,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
Baylor and
yeah.
SMU. I mean, yeah,
Baptist BYU.
yes. You could put Iowa and Iowa State in there too. South Florida, Florida was one of those games where you're like, man, this is a classic as well. Um, yeah, we had a few here in week two. Had a few in week two. Here's some scores from other games. We're going to go a little bit quicker with some of these. Vandy beats Virginia Tech. Jay, Virginia Tech was playing this game like they knew Brent Pry's job's on the line, and then they just fell apart at the end. Our guy Brent Pry it's not looking good for our guy.
No, it's not. I think it was 34 unanswered for Vanderbilt to come back and win this game and really kind of turn it into a not close game at the end. And the pass protection for Jones just hasn't been there. Defensively, they just can't hold up over a long period of time with their offense not really
They're
getting
on the
anything
field.
going.
I
Yeah.
was just gonna say they are on the field so much, and that is demoralizing for a defense because if the first half, your defense is, hey, we're good, we're good, we're good. We're going to keep you guys in this game. But when that late third quarter, early fourth quarter starts and you're on that field all the time, it's especially with a quarterback like, Diego Pavia, um, it's not going to work. Honestly, though, I think it's best for both parties. Brent Pry leaves. He'll get a defensive coordinator job, I think, within seconds, probably for a big program, too.
Yeah.
Whoever is looking for one, they're going to get a good one with Brent Pry. He's a great man. I really enjoy Brent Pry. I wish it could have worked out at Virginia Tech. It's just not going to.
Yeah.
But
And
I think it'll be better. Virginia Tech will be better than he left it because I think it was an absolute dumpster fire when he took over. But anyway, yeah, I'm done.
yeah, moving on to that. This is a program that I thought we expected to do really big things this year.
Mm-hmm.
Kansas State loses to an Army team that is coming off of a loss to FCS Tarleton
Tarleton.
State. Uh, and Jake, I wanted to bring this up. So the loser of the Aer Lingus Kickoff Classic, I think is what they're calling the game
Yes.
over in Ireland. I guess it'll be 4 years now, but the last 3 years. 2022, Nebraska loses to Northwestern in the infamous game where the internet went down and all the fans got free beer.
Yes.
Nebraska went 4-8 after that loss. Scott Frost fired. 2023, Navy loses to Notre Dame in a blowout in Ireland. Navy goes 5-7 on the year, and then last year, of course, we all know what happened to Florida State. The Noles go 2-10 on the season after opening with a loss to Georgia Tech in Ireland. And it feels like Kansas State's kind of going along that same path. They have the loss to Iowa State. They nearly lose to FCS North Dakota. And then they do lose this week against Army. And it's just, it's not looking good for Kansas State moving forward.
No, it's not. I I would love to see a study, like a psychological study on losing that first game because I don't know. Do you think maybe psychologically, like we're the first team that's 0-1. You have this terrible, you have to travel all the way back. So you're sitting in it and stewing on it of the loss. And it's taking you a little bit longer to get back in the film room. I, I don't know. Maybe you're starting a week earlier. Yeah, I don't know. Is there something? Is there something to this that the team that loses to in Ireland first ends up, I don't know, and ends up just tanking the rest of the season?
I have no explanation for it. I have no idea what's going on, but Kansas State has to get it figured out in a hurry because this is not the start to the season they imagined. You're already 0-1 in conference, and now you've lost another non-con
Mhm.
game. So it's going to be
Yeah.
tough.
I hope they don't do something foolish. If this season really goes south, I hope they don't do something foolish and fire Kleiman.
I
I
don't.
don't think
I
I
don't
don't
think
think
they
that will happen.
will. No.
No, I think Kansas State, with all the years of Snyder, I think they realize, hey, they're this is an outlier. Like Kleiman will be fine. He'll right the ship eventually, but this year is just not looking good for the Wildcats. This is looking like Kansas State in the '80s.
Yeah.
Kansas State, you
Yeah.
know. Let's talk about some other stuff here. Toledo murders Western Kentucky. Uh, it was 45-7 at one point. The score is actually closer than what it probably was. I'm surprised by this. I mean, listen, I know Toledo's good, but I really thought Western Kentucky was going to be a lot better than this.
Yeah, the offense just couldn't get it going until the
No.
very end of the game, and when you have a team that is built around that offense and the defense is kind of optional, this
Yeah,
is what happens.
yeah, and they had those mental lapses against Sam Houston.
Yeah.
That defense, and like they kept them in the game kind of. But Western Kentucky, their offense, if their offense isn't hitting, and that three-headed monster that we talked about just didn't have anything, wasn't doing. Huge win for Toledo in the Glass Bowl. Jay, another group of five. UNL, this is the UNLV team we thought we were going to see. They beat UCLA. UCLA could not complete the comeback. They win. UNL, the huge win for Dan Mullen in that group. This is the type of team that I expected to see from Dan Mullen. I'm also getting very worried about Deshaun Foster and UCLA. Also.
Yeah, I think at this point, UCLA is probably done. Uh, you have the blowout loss to Utah, and then you lose to UNLV. And listen, I do think UNLV is going to end up being one of the better teams in the group of five, and I think they're going to get better and better as the year goes on. But yeah, you would just expect more out of UCLA, and I'm like you. I think with Sean Foster, like they gave it a shot. He showed some stuff at the end of last year. It just had the momentum hasn't carried over to this year, and it may be back to the drawing board for them in the Big Ten.
And Nico also not looking great
No.
either, which is yeah. Listen, I wanted the Deshaun. I was out on Deshaun Foster, and then last year I was like, I think I'm in here. Like these guys are fighting for this man, but I don't know. You lose guys and you lose upperclassmen that might be Deshaun Foster guys, and now it's I don't know. It's UCLA is not looking great right now. Jay, we had some top 10 teams struggle in wins against lesser teams. Georgia 28-6 over Austin P. Austin P might be good
They just might be
in the
good.
FCS.
I mean,
They might be okay.
they smoked Middle Tennessee, and now
Yeah,
they've hung tough with Georgia.
yeah,
That just might be a good team.
they might be
Uh,
good.
Surprising one for me, Clemson struggled mightily against Troy.
Yeah.
They needed a big comeback to win that game. They got it, but you're kind of pressing the concern button for Clemson now.
Their offense didn't look good. And Jay, I'm gonna say something here, and I do not want it to be like sour grapes. Okay. I think Tom I think Tom Allen is a good defensive coordinator. Okay. I think he's a good one. I think his adjustments are fantastic. Tom Allen teams, for some reason, have slow starts on defense. It was Penn State's struggle last year. And I think we're starting to see it a little bit with Clemson, although I think the LSU game, it was kind of flip-flopped. I think LSU was just getting their number towards the end. But this right here, this start by Troy reminded me of those Tom Allen starts with them. And I think it might be a problem for Clemson fans. And again, Penn State fans told them, hey, Tom Allen's good, but you're going to have some slow starts. And I think that's what we're seeing here. Clemson's offense needs to, I don't know what they need to do. Klubnik is not looking like the guy I thought he was going to. But hey, they listen, a win's a win. And you take it with you, you hang on to it, and you get ready for next week.
Yep. And speaking of LSU, they didn't look great against Louisiana Tech.
No, I was again, another quarterback, disappointed in Nussmeier. Nussmeier, I thought, looked like the best quarterback in college football last week. He looked really good, making checks at the line, doing all the things that a very good college quarterback does. He did not look as good this week. Maybe a week 2 hangover after Clemson. I don't know, but didn't look great. And then Penn State, the game I was at, was only beating Florida International 10-0 at halftime. Granted, they did come back and they did get the 34, so they scored 24 points in the second half. FIU was a little frisky in this. I don't know, team to watch maybe in Conference USA just to, make a bowl game and stuff. Drew Aller did not look good, Jay. Drew, listen, I'm guessing you didn't watch the Penn State game.
I did not.
Okay. So Drew did not look good. He looked better in the second half. Do you want to guess the other player that has had a very bad week 1 and 2 from Penn State? Just one player? I don't know how well you know their roster, but
I mean, I could rattle off some names. I thought Katron Allen had a big play. I don't think it
Katron
was
Allen
him.
was great. Katron Allen was great. He's been
Denied
very
Dennis
good.
Sutton would be the other name that
Yeah.
comes to mind.
Okay. Those are very good. They have been having electric weeks. Nick Singleton has become a little bit of a concern for me. Jay, I'm talking about, and I was talking to Jeff, the Greek, a little bit, and we were talking about, it was one of those things where he's shying away from contact, like, hey, I'm going to be a big time NFL guy. I don't want to get hurt. Jay, it's the opposite. This guy is like lowering his shoulder into dudes and running into dudes instead of finding rush lanes.
And it's the old Trent Richardson.
Yeah, and I don't get. He's missing. I think his what's it called? Vision. I think his vision has been lacking the first 2 weeks. I hope it's fixed. I think he's going to be okay.
Yeah.
I think he's going to be okay. But anyway, Penn State fans are not happy. There are some nerves going.
Yeah.
For 3, it's going to be everyone's going to be puckered for about 3 weeks until that Oregon game.
Yeah.
It's going to be, but yeah. So anyway, Penn State. So a lot of teams struggled in the top 10 this week.
You know who else wasn't happy with their team after a week 2 game is Fran Brown at Syracuse. Syracuse did make the comeback to beat UConn. I think UConn's a good team.
I think they're better than what people think.
I think they're better than what people think. Yeah, I mean, if UCLA does move on from Deshaun Foster, maybe they bring Jim Moore in. I don't know.
Yeah.
Could that work?
I don't know. Did we do this? Did we do this before? Did this happen before? So Jay, I think the running the team after the game is one of those things that's going to be shown in high schools all across the country. And I'm going to be honest, I absolutely hate it. 100%, absolutely, positively hate it. You are at a college level. You take care of that behind closed doors. If you want to run your team at practice, run them until the cows go home. Okay. I think that is a humiliation thing. I think it's going to hurt them recruiting, and they're doing decently well on the recruiting trail. I think that hurts them in that aspect. And I just think that's a very emotional move for a head coach at that caliber to make. And I don't see any reason to do it unless you had dudes that were like, you know, whistling at girls in the stands or mouthing off to coat, like,
Yeah.
or something. That is
Doing
the
stuff at the team hotel
yes,
the
doing
night
stuff at the
before.
team hotel. That stuff, fine. I still think do it at practice, but I understand. I haven't seen anything that says otherwise. I hate this move.
Yeah. I agree. I think it's just kind of, I mean, I think it's part of like Fran Brown and who he is as a coach, but it's taken to the extreme.
Mhm.
And it's almost becoming like a caricature of yourself.
Performative.
Yeah, and I just I don't love it, but who knows? Maybe that's maybe that's what they needed to.
Maybe, yeah, maybe that'll wake them up. But hey, they got the win. Jay, hit us with the FCS minute, and I have a feeling we're going to go longer than a minute, and that's okay.
Yeah, it is probably going to be longer than a minute today because I have a few things to talk about. We had a couple FCS over FBS wins.
Mhm.
You had Long Island, an FCS team, beating FBS Eastern Michigan 28-23. FCS Bryant gets their first ever win over an FBS program. It is UMass, but it's still an FCS over a FBS win. Lamar with a massive upset
Whoa.
over number 6 South Dakota. Uh, Lamar was, I think, a 17.5 point dog going into this one.
Okay.
So big win for that program. They're coming off a
Shout out our friend Micah.
yeah, it just means less, the
It just
ACC
means less.
account. Uh, and then you had an absolute banger of a game that we talked about going into this week, ended up living up to expectations. Number 2, South Dakota State beats number 3, Montana State on the road in Bozeman, but it took 2 overtimes to do it. Just an absolute classic of a game. Wouldn't be surprised to see both of those teams make long runs into the postseason later this year. We also had a game that was kind of close to being an FCS over FBS upset. Northern Colorado almost pulled off the upset over Colorado State. Colorado State needed a last-second touchdown pass from, I believe it's Fowler Nicolosi, the quarterback at Colorado State, to get the win there. That would have been huge. But then we move on to this week's biggest game of the week in the FCS ranks. Number 17, North Dakota at number 7, Montana, Washington Grizzly Stadium, the mecca of FCS football. Going to be an absolute banger. Tune in if you have a free screen available,
Mhm.
2 p.m. Central Time on ESPN Plus. Definitely going to be a game you want to watch.
Yeah, absolutely. And Jay, we get into our week 3 preview. Friday night is when the premier games start. On Thursday, NC State does play Wake Forest. And Jay, I will say that is a game that I know we're going to skip over it, but that is a game when it's April, May, you will be begging. You'd be begging to watch NC State at Wake Forest. But we're going to go to Friday night, Colorado at Houston. Houston is a 5.5-point favorite, over under set at 43.5. I'm leaning over here, but I really like Houston to win this game, but I think I'm leaning over.
Houston's defense has looked pretty stout in the first 2 weeks of the season. Now, you played SFA and Rice, not exactly two teams that are going to light it up offensively, but I really think that's just the identity of this Woodley Fritz coach team is going to be a tough defense. The other piece of this, so I talk about elevation being a factor for teams going up to Colorado. This game is in Houston. It's not going to be easy for Colorado coming down to the humidity in Houston. It's going to be in the 90s at TDECU Stadium. Going to be a hot one for Colorado to deal with. That can zap you in a hurry. Trust me, I am very familiar with this heat here in Houston. So that's going to be an interesting. I like Houston -5.5 in this one.
That's what I mean. I'm definitely leaning on a Houston win, 5.5. Over the field goal is always a little tricky. I'm leaning over. I might go. This is going to be like a game time decision. I'm going to see what this one is, but I am definitely leaning Houston here. Kansas State at Arizona. Jay, Arizona is a 1.5-point favorite. Over under set at 45.5.
Not touching this one. I need to see Arizona gets better competition, and Kansas State. I need to see if the curse is real. And I think if they lose this game, the curse is very much real that we talked about. But I just need to see a little bit more out of Arizona. I think they were pretty disappointing last year. Is this Arizona team actually going to be competitive in the Big 12 this year, or have they just been better against lesser competition?
The unluck of the Irish.
Hey,
Ooh,
it's
the unluck.
it's
There
like
we go.
the straight to Disney movie where the kid has the bad luck
Yeah.
and he turns into a leprechaun.
Yes,
You
and
remember that one?
he has the basketball.
Yeah, I think it's basketball.
They play
I think it
basketball,
was
and
called The Luck of the Irish,
I
actually,
think it
now
was
that I
called
think
Luck of
about
the Irish, and he sends the one guy to Lake Erie. He goes to Lake Erie. It's the only time I heard someone reference Lake Erie in a movie as a child. But anyway, I think I don't like this game at all. I hate it so much. I really hate it. I, I'm thinking
Yeah.
over 54 and a half. I think that's the one we got, over 54 and a half. Saturday, Clemson at Georgia Tech. Georgia Tech 3.5 point dogs at home. Over under set at 53 and a half. I'm thinking under. I'm thinking about the under here.
Yeah, the way that the Clemson offense has looked the first year, I think was it Antonio Williams? Is that their receiver that was supposed to be
Yes,
having a big year this year?
I believe
I
it
think the
was.
loss of him to injury has hurt Clemson more than we perhaps thought. I think that's part of why their offensive struggles are as
Mhm,
big as they are. But it's tough, right? Like, I also wonder about Georgia Tech. They're just one of those teams that's going to be scrappy no matter who they play against. I mean, we saw it with the game against Georgia last year.
mhm.
This is a scrappy, hard nosed team. Uh, I think Clemson wins by a field goal. I'm going to take Georgia Tech to cover.
Ooh, okay. Like it. Wisconsin at Alabama. Alabama is a 20.5 point favorite. In Alabama, I am taking. I'm going to take the under in this game as well because I don't think Wisconsin's going to score at all.
Yeah, it's just Wisconsin has not been impressive so far. Uh, Going into Bryant Denny, I think Alabama also kind of has a fire lit under them after
Mhm.
what happened in week one. I like Alabama to cover in this one as well.
Yep. Um, Georgia at Tennessee. Tennessee 3.5 point dogs at home in Neyland. 50.5 over under. I don't know. This is another one. If I'm better, I don't want to go anywhere near this game at all for anything. Over under for the spread. I don't sit back and enjoy. Should be a very good football game.
Yeah, going to be a massive Saturday night in East Tennessee. We also have the Bristol night race going on in NASCAR. But this Georgia Tennessee game is going to be the opposite of a NASCAR race. It is not going to be fast paced. Although a race at Bristol, it might be just as physical. I think these two teams are going to go at each other. I just don't trust Tennessee this year. Yes, they got the win over Syracuse, but I just the offense just feels like it's missing something. It looks like I feel like Tennessee is just incomplete this year. I like Georgia to cover.
Yep. Um, South Florida at Miami. Miami 17.5 point favorites. Over under 55.5. I'm taking the under in this football game again. I'm a lot of unders this week. I like the under 55.5 in this one. I think South Florida has a bit of a hangover.
Well, it'd be a 2 week hangover if they do have one between the Boise State
Yeah.
game and the Florida game. I think it's more just the physical toll of playing two very physical teams back to back. I like the under in this one as well, but I think Miami. If I had to pick one way or the other, I would take Miami to cover. I'm not fully taking that here, but I like your pick of the under because I
Yeah.
think the USF defense is going to keep the Bulls in this one, but I don't think they're going to be able to get much going offensively.
Yeah. Florida at LSU. LSU 9.5 point favorites at home in Death Valley. 48.5 over under. Again, this is one I would stay away from. I don't know if Florida's going to come out inspired. I don't know if LSU might be a little like, again, LSU's very good, but we saw Clemson have their struggles. So I'm not sure how great LSU is now. I just don't know enough about these teams. I don't know what Florida is. I don't know what LSU is. I don't know. I would say stay the hell away.
Yep. I'm echoing everything you say. I think LSU is just a little bit better everywhere, and I think they win this game. But I don't trust them enough to take that 9.5 points.
No. And then the game that I will be at, the backyard brawl. Pitt travels to West Virginia. By the way, West Virginia, we have to mention, just lost to Ohio this week, which Ohio, Jay, better than what people think. This is a good MAC squad, but West Virginia cannot be losing games to Ohio. Don't care if it's on the road or not. West Virginia is a 6.5-point dog. And Jay, everyone is counting out the Mountaineers. Mountaineer fans, I think, are counting out the Mountaineers. They just lost Jaheim White, their best offensive player. Wouldn't it be something? I think Pitt, I think, is already looking like, yeah, put one down for us. We got them. We're going to take 3 here. West Virginia, I like West Virginia to cover the 6.5, and I might be sprinkling money line before this thing is even over. West Virginia to cover.
I'm staying away from this game personally, but I am going to watch it because the Backyard Brawl is one of the best college football rivalries in the country, and I can't wait to see it play out on the field. But as far as picks, I'm not taking anything here.
And now, Jay, your game. The prime time game of the week. Texas A&M traveling to South Bend, Indiana. Notre Dame is a 6.5-point favorite over A&M. Over-under set at 49.5. Jay, let's get the breakdown of this one.
Yeah, this is an interesting one. A&M has played 2 Group of 5 teams to kick off the year. You played a UTSA team who I think is going to end up being a solid Group of 5 team. You have Utah State, who I think has one of the best coaches in the Group of 5 level in Bronco Mendenhall. The defense has been inconsistent for A&M. You still have some big playmakers. I mean, Cassius Howell with 3 straight sacks against Utah State on 3 straight plays to force him to punt was one of the greatest series I think I've ever seen for a single defensive player. The real story about A&M so far this year, though, has been how much more explosive their offense is. This is a team that struggled to stretch the field last year, and so far through the season, as young as it is, they are top 5 in the country in explosive plays. That's plays over 20 yards or more. Obviously, the additions of Casey Concepcion and Mario Craver in the wide receiver room have paid dividends. Both of those guys making big plays for the Aggies. A young guy in Terry Bussey stepping up in his sophomore season. Marcel Reed's development is a big story, and we really haven't gotten into the run game too much, although Le'Veon Moss had a good touchdown run against Utah State. That's not something they've relied on. The good thing with those new receivers is A&M's going to be able to keep opposing defenses honest. They can't just sell up for the run anymore because the receivers on the edges are able to make big plays, and they are yak machines, yard after catch machines. On the other side of the ball, Notre Dame, I think, is better at quarterback than people expected. I think CJ Carr already looks better than a lot of people thought. Obviously, you still have the rushing attack there. Jeremiah Love, I think, is still one of the best running backs in the country, but the offensive line for Notre Dame did not look as good as we expected against Miami. Is A&M's defensive line as good as Miami's? I don't think so, but I still think they have some talent there to be disruptive. On the defensive side of the ball, Notre Dame's still very solid. Again, I think A&M's going to be able to throw some different looks because his offense feels completely different than last year. It's going to be a tough one. You go into a hostile environment in Notre Dame. How does the bye affect Notre Dame is one of the things that I'm most interested in. Notre Dame loses to Miami in week 1, and then they get a week off before A&M comes to town. Is it going to be rest or is it going to be rust? I think that's a big question going into this one. I mean, obviously, I would love to see A&M pull it off. I just think Notre Dame's a little bit better on both sides of the ball, or at least more consistent defensively. I think A&M has had too many mental lapses those first 2 weeks. Now, is that a case of A&M being a little more vanilla? I don't know, but you would still like to see better execution on that side of the ball. I do think A&M's offense is going to be better than when these two teams met last year by a decent margin, and I think it's going to be a close one. With that said, I probably still lean Notre Dame
To cover?
to win. I'm staying away from the covering. I'm staying away from the bets here.
Um, I like A&M to cover in this. CJ Carr has been I think is a pleasant surprise for Irish fans. I really do. He played, pretty well in that Miami game. And Jay, you played at a higher level than me, but you look at offensive line play, I think across the country, I think it's tougher than people think to start gelling together early on in the season. I think that the casual football fan is just going to say, well, you just push people around, but it's the combo blocks, it's the protections, it's knowing where your help is on the line. And I believe that, offenses don't start gelling until week 4, maybe even week 5. You'd like it to gel quicker, but I think that's kind of what we're seeing with Notre Dame and the rush. I would like Jeremiah Love to get more touches for them, if we're being honest. Um, I, I think A&M is going to come into this one I mean, both these teams are going to be motivated, but I think A&M's defensive line, I think, is going to cause some havoc. Again, this is an early on. I don't like the bye right after you play a game and now you're on a bye again. I don't know if you're comfortable. I think A&M might take a lead early in this. I don't know how it's going to play out, but I have A&M covering here. A&M covering the 6.5. Man, I would love to take money line. I do think Notre Dame as a team, though, is better, like you said, but I got Aggies to cover 6.5.
Yeah. Either way, really excited to see that in a dynamic environment in the South Bend. I have a feeling that's going to be one of the games of the weekend.
Oh my God. Absolutely. Can't wait to watch. That's a primetime matchup, correct?
It is.
Can't wait to watch. I'll be somewhere in Morgantown watching it. Hopefully I'm happy watching it. But yeah. Jay, let's land the play.
Well, folks, it's crazy that we're already in week 3 of the college football season. Appreciate each and every one of you who tune in, who listen to us, who support the show. Do all the things that help us grow as a podcast. Rate us 5 stars. Give us a like. Make sure to subscribe. Do all those things. Make sure to download Battle Bets. Let them know that the Get Back Coach sent you by selecting us as your ambassador in the referrer section. And we'll see you back here next week after another great slate of games.
Cannot wait.